Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash-flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. It is a nice and rainy Wednesday here in Seattle. It is July, at the end of July, and it's rainy. So I'm not going to lie, I'm actually enjoying this. It's been way too hot here. And up in Seattle, we just don't deal with heat. Once it passes 75 degrees, we're like, no, it's good. We want to go back down. So it's nice and rainy here. I hope you guys are having a great day, a great week. It is a good day for another reason, because we have Jill Jensen with us here on the podcast. Jill does one of my favorite assets, mobile home parks. So she's going to talk to us about investing and raising funds for mobile home parks. Jill, super excited to have you on here. Thanks for hopping on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I told you before we got on here, we always like starting with stories and hearing kind of how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story in real estate and just tell us, how'd you get here?
Okay, we're going to give the Cliff Notes version. I started in door-to-door sales.
Ooh,
so
nice.
I started knocking on real estate, but not selling or buying real estate. It was actually to sell pest control. I created sales teams and then started my own pest control company with my former husband. It went nationwide, hundreds of sales reps, call center, thousands of customers. Fast forward, got bought out of that company, and I was left with some money. And I was like, okay, I have enough money to make me money. What do all wealthy people have in common? Okay, majority of them have real estate. I got to get in that game. So then it just came down to networking. No one in my circle was in real estate. I couldn't tell them what I wanted to do because I didn't want to be talked out of it. So then it just went online, started researching. I connected with a few people. I found a mentor. His name's Pace Morby, and he's does creative financing. And so he's my personal mentor, and I do business with him directly. And so then I got down the space of private money lending. And I was like, okay, I don't want to learn or lend to a poor person that needs my money. Where are the wealthy people lending their own money? I want to learn from them and partner with them. You can have a piece of the pie. Just let me learn from the people that have already failed a few times. Then from there, figured out the game. And I said, okay, if I can just solve a rich person's problem, they're going to pay me. And a lot of rich people have money sitting around. So I'm just going to go learn how to raise capital for other people's real estate deals. And that's how I landed working with Sonus Capital.
I love it. That's awesome. It's funny that you started with pest control, because I feel like pest control companies are the best when it comes to door-to-door sales. That, like, I swear to God, we get pest control guys different companies coming by our house probably twice a month, which is more than any other company out there. Like, we rarely get people come to our house, but pest control, they are on it. They know that door-to-door sales is where it's at. So
that's true.
That's interesting. You got started there. So it sounds like you went from pest control, door-to-door, regular business, to selling, and then you got into private money lending straight from the pest control. Did you buy any like single family or anything in the interim, or was it just got right into?
I live by the book, who, not how. Figure out who can help me with my business, not try to figure out how. So I didn't do any single family. I skipped over that. I don't know how to underwrite. I don't know how to comp. I just went and found the people who are already really good at it. And so I just lent on fix and flip, other properties. And then I rolled over and realized I got tax issues. So I need to hold assets, but I don't want to manage. And then I got into the mobile home park space. So I was more like a private money partner where I lent my money. Gentleman hadn't raised rents in 50 years. He was charging $60.
Wow, that's good rents right there.
And I was like, okay, I don't know how to underwrite, but if someone's charging $60 and the comps are $300, okay, I think we can do something here. So I lent my money on that deal, but I got equity instead of just interest.
Oh, nice.
Kind of where the shift came into play of okay, I can still be a lender, but get equity, not just interest.
Yeah, that's what I love about real estate is there are a million ways to do a deal. There's a million ways to structure it. And so, people only think about, going to a bank, getting some lending, getting, paying interest. And honestly, banks are my least favorite way of closing deals because they are so frustrating to deal with. No offense, banks out there, but you guys are not, you don't make it easy, that's for sure.
No,
Um,
creatively. I just, no, we're like able to get a lot of our properties on seller finance,
yep,
because you're in the space too. But so we do try to get our mobile home parks creatively.
nice. So why did you choose mobile home? There's 1,000 different assets out there, not literally, but there are a lot of asset classes out there. Mobile home parks is, it's one of my favorites, but why did you decide to go down that route?
When it comes to lending my own money, I found the right partner. So it
Mm,
wasn't necessarily mobile home parks. It was because I found someone who's really good in that one area, and
mm,
that was their niche.
got
And
it.
so I felt more confident investing in that person than necessarily the mobile home park. Come to find out, once I really got to understand mobile home parks, I became very passionate about them because I looked at this asset as I feel confident raising capital for this type of asset.
Yep.
Because end of the day, my reputation's on the line. If I'm raising tens of millions of dollars, like my investors are gonna look at me, whether they're making money or not. And with mobile home parks, it's like, okay, there's high demand for affordable housing. Our business model is to have all tenant owned homes. So we sell all the homes, which means low overhead. Average person stays around 14 years after they've purchased the home.
I actually did not know that. 14, that's
Compared
the
to an
average.
apartment complex, it's 2.5 years.
Yeah. Huh.
So you have low turnover, you have less maintenance because you're not taking care of the tenants, the toilets, the termites. And there's still high tax advantages with depreciation over 15 years compared to single family homes at 27.
There you go. I
And
love
so I
it.
was like, okay, considering the circumstances and other assets, I feel confident in raising capital and investing my own money in it.
Yeah. Yeah, the one downside to mobile home parks, again, going back to the banks, is banks do not like lending on them. Most banks, a lot of banks will look at mobile home parks as land. And so if you're trying to do, get an LTV on the purchase price, I guarantee that purchase price is going to be above the land value. And so banks just won't give you enough money, which is why seller financing is so crucial in, assets like mobile home parks. I've gotten, a number of deals with seller financing, and I feel like it's a little bit easier of a conversation, especially with the kind of mom and pop owners out there for mobile home parks, to get seller financing. Another reason why I love it. So you're mostly on the capital side of the entire operations. You don't necessarily do. You're not on the GP side. You raise the capital, and then that's your role in the deal.
That's my role. I also have money in my own fund. So I'm an LP in my own in these
That's
own
good.
deals. But for the
Yeah.
most part, I oversee the capital raising and I have a team of people that I've brought on to help raise the capital. I could do it on my own, or I could just go find people to help me. Remember that pest control door to door? I have managers and business partners and same infrastructure, just new platform.
Yeah. Business is business. Once you kind of figure out a niche, you can apply that to pretty much any type of business. So let's talk about your strength, which is raising capital. You built a team around it. Tell us, how did you do it? How did you get to where you are? And what are the kind of um, key things somebody just starting out should know if they want to raise capital for deals?
This is like my favorite topic. So many people are scared or like have a hard time with raising capital. And I'm like, it's all just a mindset.
It's a hard conversation if you haven't done it before. It's
At the end of the day, you're simply helping someone else make money.
Yep.
But the problem is people are putting their own agenda in their head.
Mm.
I got to get them to see my vision. The trick is to help them become the hero of their own story. So all you have to do is overcome whatever story the investor or the person with money has. And being able to okay, if there's someone that's an accredited investor that has money and I feel super confident in my deal or the park that we're buying, I simply just have to kind of step into their mind and be like, what are their concerns? And if I can overcome them, they're looking for a way to make money or they wouldn't be on the call.
Absolutely.
So now it's just tapping into, okay, I'll give a quick example. Raised $100,000 from two different people, same deal within 48 hours. The same pitch deck, completely different stories I was talking about. Because in the beginning, I asked them, hey, what's your experience in real estate and where do you ultimately want to be? Okay, they tell me, now I know how to pitch them. Here's the trick. And the first woman, she's like, I heard you talking about a insurance or my life insurance policy. I know my husband has a couple $100,000 in his cash value account. How does that work? Perfect. I actually understand insurance. Legally, I'm a licensed agent. So I was able to walk her through the process. She just needed her hand held on how to invest in real estate.
Right.
48 hours later, different gentleman. He's done 10 deals, multiple funds. He just needed the numbers, the time frame, the security, and how to wire. Completely different conversation, but same deal. So I just educate people on, you got to come to the level of where the investor is and then guide them through the process. So what does it look like right now until the day they get all of their money back? If you can just share the exacts, dumb it down.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to ask the silly questions that they think are stupid.
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. So if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, and it's I like that you mentioned that you need to come to the specific person's level, because that's something that I didn't kind of realize until later on. I thought that I needed to tell everybody about my underwriting and this is my underwriting. But a lot of people, they needed a little bit, a couple steps above that. They don't understand real estate. They don't understand. You just need to come to where their understanding is and then bring them to, as you said, how they're going to get their money back. And that's super important to really, meet people at their current understanding and then guide them from that point. If you're talking to somebody who, owns a bunch of parks, then you don't need to tell them. You just tell them the numbers, tell them exactly your underwriting, and they'll get it.
Totally.
But everybody else, you need to meet them right where they are. So it sounds like you have that final conversation with the person who is going to be, lending the money or investing the money. You mentioned you have a team under you. What are the roles that you fill, and then how do they kind of? I'm assuming you have cold callers or people who kind of warm up the leads. Just kind of give us a team structure, how you kind of structure your capital raising.
Perfect. That's a great question. I oversee investor relations. And so I first wanted to lead by example of doing well at raising capital. So then when I brought on other people, I could teach them. Here's the trick though. Before teaching them, I was strategic on how I'm finding these partners. I went to this convention and it was called Raise Fest. And they talked about finding your avatar. And a lot of people think of that within real estate as, okay, you got fix and flip, you got Airbnb, you got multifamily. He was referring to who you're raising capital from. He's like, there's so much money out there that's just sitting around. So I was like, well, I know that I raise money off of investment groups. I raise money off of other investors. My second thought was, I'm just going to go find 10 avatars. So I'm going to try to find 10 people that have a network of people with money that aren't necessarily even in real estate.
Okay.
So there's a woman on my team, and she helps people with their self-directed accounts. So retirement accounts, trillions of dollars in retirement accounts. Like, I could focus on just retirement accounts the rest of my life and raise plenty of money for my deals. And so I was like, okay, perfect. I'm giving her an avenue to take the clients that she already works with, bring her on my team, pay her a small salary, bonus structure. They have different responsibilities within the role because legally how you pay them has to be structured a certain way. I can't just take someone off the street and say, hey, I'll give you a percentage to raise capital. They have to be hired on by the company themselves. And so then I found another woman who was in medical sales. So she's in rooms with doctors all day long. And another gentleman I talked to, he was like, I am a pilot for Southwest and I teach other pilots. And he's like, I teach this guy that's making $300,000. I'm teaching him how to be a pilot that makes $600,000. So I'm having a conversation with him because he's like, I could tap into these people that have money. So that's kind of something that I've learned of looking outside of the box for people that have money. And then once we've worked through their market, they understand the language of those types of people. So having investor dinners with those doctors, having investor dinners with his pilot friends, or doing a weekly webinar for the people with retirement accounts. And so finding different people that can all kind of stay in their lane. So I'm on podcasts like here, advertising being on podcasts weekly, and social media is of course a big one for all of us because your social media is your walking like billboard or your business card. So those are some of the different things we do on how to raise capital.
Nice. I like it. So you find people who have a specialty, who are in an industry, and then you kind of, that is their territory, that is their sales avenue. They are responsible for medical sales. They reach out to medical salespeople, get them to invest in the deals. How do you structure it from the capital stack to, down to the sales associate? Like, what is the percentage that you get on the equity on the capital stack? And then how does it get down to the actual, the person who's doing the sales?
It actually comes down to every individual because of their different roles. Some people have a W-2 or a full-time job, and so they're getting a small salary. And then we have different requirements that they have to meet, how many calls they're making, bonus structures off of how many things that they're hitting, whether it's phone calls, percentage of how much they're raising every month. There's kind of an equation on all of that. And then as the manager overseeing them, I just get paid a higher rate because I'm a manager. But this is my full-time gig. So salary and bonus structures off of that too. And then most of us are also invested in our own deals.
Yeah. You gotta drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, hey, I just took a peek at the clock. It looks like we have run it down. So it's time to jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. It starts with education. I need two recommendations rather. I need one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate. And it can be any form of education, can be books, can be movies, can be Netflix shows, just whatever. I just need two recommendations for those two sections.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give two different ones. Who, not how. And I already kind of talked about that. And that can be in any area of life, whether you're trying to lose weight. It's like, figure out who's already done it, and instead of trying to figure out how and learn from them. And then the other one is a parenting book, and it's called How to Raise Successful People. And you can also use this book in a business setting because it's referring to people. And the nutshell of it is help people become as independent as possible as soon as possible. So helping my kids learn how to make their own choices as soon as possible.
Nice. I like it. I should pick that up. We have how old is she now? Like 1.5-year-old daughter. And we're learning lessons every single day, but that sounds like a good one to pick up. All right. Next question is for your younger self. So let's go back to the Jill who had zero experience in real estate. She was just doing that first pest control door-to-door sales gig. So go back to her, look her in the eye, give her one piece of advice moving forward.
Stop knocking doors for pest control and start knocking pre-foreclosure homes and take those over creatively.
There you go. I'm going to put that in the category of I wish I got started sooner. On the podcast, we kind of keep a running tally of how many people, that is their piece of advice, because it's got to be over 90%. So every time this happens, I always put it back on you listeners. If there's anybody out there who is thinking about getting into real estate and you haven't done anything yet, you're still in the education phase, this is to you. This is a message to you to just get out there, get a deal done, because everybody who comes on the podcast, they wish they got started sooner. So now's the time. Go out there, get something done. You will not regret it in the future.
My second thought with that is make more friends. If you're trying to get in real estate, how do I get started? Go network and make more friends, because you'll start speaking their language if you hang around them.
There you go. All right, next question is about the U.S. It is a big place. There is tons of opportunity. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
We're currently taking down a couple of portfolios in Arizona. So
interesting.
If you ask me today, we're looking in Arizona.
All right. All right. Next question is about finding deals, but I'm gonna change it for you. This is going to be about finding new investors. There's tons of ways to generate leads. What's your favorite way to generate leads and then get in contact with new investors to invest in your deals?
Investor dinners and going to local meetups or conventions. Meeting people in person is really what it comes down to. You can use the internet, but there's nothing better than sitting down with someone face to face.
I was going to say those are both in-person methods, so that's good to hear. All right, next one is about lessons learned. Not everything is sun and roses in real estate. In fact, most deals have something that goes wrong in them, but that is where the biggest lessons that we get to learn are, and we get to take them on to the next deal. So what is a deal that went a little bit sideways for you? And then what was the lesson you pulled from that?
I'm going to give you the lesson that someone taught me so that I could avoid my deals going south. It was loan to own. Don't lend on a deal if you're not willing to own the worst case scenario.
That's good. I like that.
And how I overcame that in the beginning was I just hold collateral that is worth more than my loan. So I only lend to people who have done multiple fix and flip and they have properties on the side that they're cash flowing. Basically, I hold something hostage. So if you lose all my money, I actually come out on top.
There you go. All right, that brings us to the very last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. As a two-parter, where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
You can direct email me at jill@sonoscapital.com. You can find me on Instagram at, are you ready for this? I am a Jillionaire.
Nice.
I know, right? And when they reach out, if you go on to even sonoscapital.com, you can put in your information and it will send you directly to me and set up a time that we can jump on a call. I can break down how we do deals. And so you can go straight to our website, put in your information. And when it says, how did you hear about us? Just make sure you drop my name so they connect you with me.
There you go. I will put those links in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out, just click the little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and there you can find Jill's links. All right, Jill, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thank you. Absolutely.
For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review or something on Apple or whatever you're listening to this on. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.